Hello, my friends. This is Lynda Lippin, and welcome to the Pilates Goddess podcast. Well, hello, everybody. This is the Pilates Goddess, Lynda Lippin, your host, and today we are going to talk a little bit about Pilates and artificial intelligence. I hadn't actually thought that much about Pilates and artificial intelligence. It never occurred to me actually that teachers or clients would expect some connection between teaching Pilates, knowing Pilates, and AI. And I was probably a little ignorant in that, but here we are. This topic once again came to me via a Facebook group of Pilates teachers. And one teacher said, "So, have any of you used ChatGPT or any of the AI programs to help create your Pilates class flows?" And people actually came back with varying answers like, yes, I use it and then I kind of add to it, or I tried using it and it was just a bad flow and ridiculous, so I stopped using it, or, or I would never consider using it, or I'm thinking about using it, would like to hear more. So I, as you might imagine, have some thoughts about Pilates instructors using existing artificial intelligence programs to create their classes. And this is something that I think Pilates clients should be concerned about as well. So let's kind of start talking about the Pilates landscape in the world as it is right now. Okay, the fastest growing Pilates studios or Pilates businesses are in fact the chains, your franchises. So your, Club Pilates is expanding globally at really, I hate to say an exponential rate since that's their parent company, but I'm going to say it. They really are expanding at an exponential rate. Here in New York City, we have the first Pilates venture from F45, which is the company that brought us HIIT workouts out of Australia. So we're looking at that. That studio opened on the Upper East Side, and from what I can see from the reports of friends and colleagues who have gone to try it, is you're talking 30 reformers. Yeah, 30 reformers, one teacher. And a lot of the Upper East Side ladies are already going there. And then you have classical Pilates, which interestingly enough is growing quickly, but is a little bit harder to track. I track the popularity of classical Pilates based on how long it takes to get equipment from the different classical Pilates equipment providers. And right now, for the folks in the US, you're looking at least a 6-month wait on Pilates equipment from a company like Rotz or Pilates Designs. There are some newer companies. There are some companies out of the U.S. who are also diving into making classical equipment. And, like Balanced Body has a whole Contrology line that they develop that's a little bit more classical. Now, if you're wondering, the differences, I do talk about that in some other episodes here, but just a real quick rundown is that a classical reformer has 4 springs. Those springs are all the same tension. Leather straps that in the back are attached to the frame, not to any kind of riser that comes above the frame. It's a fixed length leather strap with a handle attached to it, fabric straps with double-ended dog clips that you use literally for about 2 or 3 exercises, but that are important. The bar is easily movable. You can pick it up and put it back down. It doesn't lock into place. And in fact, bar movement is part of the actual workout. And you don't have ball bearings in the wheels. So there's a little more drag coming back in. So the work feels different because the carriage isn't trying to like fly back in. It will actually kind of stay out there a little bit. So it just changes how things feel. So we've got the chains, we've got the classical, we've also got other contemporary studios that are, holding fast, that are doing fine. And now into the mix of this, we have artificial intelligence coming in. Here's the deal. For me personally, as long as human beings are paying actual dollars, actual money for a Pilates session, and if you're a Pilates client, I want you to listen to this very seriously, okay? If you are paying good money to go into a studio, whether you're taking a group class, taking a private, taking a semi-private, whatever, however that looks for you, you should be getting taught really directly from that teacher, okay, and taught. Not just led through some workout on the reformer, okay, but actually taught. What's the exercise that you're doing? Why are you doing it? What's the deal with it? And trust me, a decent teacher can talk through that and still give you a really good workout at the end of the day and have you leaving the studio feeling like you learned something about the equipment, about the method, about your body, whatever that looks like for you. Maybe something you can do that you didn't think you could do before. So for me, once again, if you're a client who's paying, you should be getting taught. You should be getting some attention. You should be getting some correction. You should be getting some love. From the teaching perspective, I really feel like using AI to put classes together is literally phoning it the fuck in. And we know that lots of people like to do that. Okay. And that means doing the least work possible to prepare for your actual job. The issue, however, is that once again, you're dealing with human beings who have paid good money to come into your space and do a workout with you. And those folks should feel safe, held, and protected in that space and not worried about falling off the machine or injuring themselves or what spring they should be using. Okay. We should be able to do this and not phone it in. I also wonder, and I would really love it if some of the teachers from the chains would come back to me with some answers. Once again, you can DM me anywhere on social media, Lynda Lippin. You can email me, Lynda@LyndaLippin.com. You can leave a message for me or a comment for me on my podcast page at PilatesGoddess.com. But I'm really wondering, do you teach the order of the exercises, like the Joseph Pilates order of the exercises, then teach modifications and variations of those exercises, and then have your teachers kind of create quote unquote class flows based on that? Okay. Because that I feel like is the safest way to get people ready to teach and ready to teach in a safe way. So if you're a teacher, then you come at it kind of knowing the order of the exercises, and then it's easier to do variations and modifications from that. And AI isn't going to give you that. And sometimes, frankly, I don't know about you guys, but I need to sometimes change a class in the middle of class. Like I might have a specific plan for my reformer class at Bombshell, and then I get a client with osteoporosis in that class. Or I may have a specific plan, for my tower class or whatever, but then one client comes in super tired or in some back pain, or they were, salting and shoveling the small amount of snow that we got. And, they're feeling that. And so then things need to change. Or I get a new person in class, I'm in an exercise and I realize that they cannot keep their pelvis stable. And I need to then change things a little bit for them moving forward for the rest of the class. That's not a problem for me. Now, some of that I admit, I'm going to give it to you. Some of that is because I've been doing this for so long, 35 years of just the repetition, 36 years, whatever it is, of doing this all the time, okay, makes it easier. But my friends, I was able to do this, 35 years ago because I had been taught the basic order of the exercises. And I feel like if you're a client, that will also make your life a little bit easier. So I'm going to give you, some examples of just some, random ClassPass people who have been showing up in my classes lately. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about their felt experiences in other places and why they like coming back to me and coming back to us at Bombshell. So I've, heard some horror stories. I had a woman who fell off a reformer. I have a lot of folks who have injured themselves on megaformers because they've been like stuck near a speaker and then didn't really hear anything and were in a corner where they couldn't really get corrected. And a lot of these classes, it's still like the top of the class gets the front and they get the most attention from the teacher. And then everybody else is in the back kind of flailing around and hoping for the best. But you're all paying the same amount of money. This is my point. You're all paying the same amount of money. You should get the same amount of attention and you should get a good workout and not feel like you're flailing. So I have one woman who generally comes to my mat classes. She's also done a little bit of tower work and other work with me. She likes coming because she gets a good workout. She gets a good stretch, but it also helps her headaches and her neck and shoulder pain, from sitting all day. Now, one week she couldn't get to me and she went to a random reformer class and it was in a more, contemporary studio, fast paced with music in the dark. She got basically no attention. She couldn't always figure out her spring settings in a way that worked for her. The teacher was really unable to pay that close attention to that many people at one time. And now she, even in my space, doesn't want to get on the reformer, and that kind of horrifies me, right? Because now she's like put off. So just remember that you can even have somebody who likes doing Pilates and they have one class where they're flailing around in the dark and feel like they're getting no support and feedback. And suddenly they never want to get on a reformer again. Even with the teacher they know in the studio that they know they will be safe. This is a problem. I had a woman come into class yesterday. She has done multiple reformer classes and megaformer classes. She told me that she had never been corrected and that she had no idea if she was doing anything right. So, we went through a good kind of beginner, intermediate, nice, solid reformer class. And she left being like, okay, now number one, I understand that there's an actual order of the exercises and why. But number two, you also gave me a good sense of where I'm supposed to be stable, where I should be working, what should be moving, and then how to move forward. So a lot of times, I get folks who, in a weird way, want to continue doing those other workouts in the larger group, reformer scenario, but want to do it safely. So they come to me to learn how to do it safely. This isn't right. So artificial intelligence, here's the deal. At some point, AI is going to have the whole Pilates system down, right? It's just going to pull it from Google. It's going to pull it from websites. It's going to pull it from all of us who are in there, all of you who are in there trying to find a class flow, okay? And it's going to know the whole system. And at that point, clients, if they choose, can just take an AI-led class. I want you to think about this. If you're using AI, if you're using your Chat GPT or Bing or whatever, or Bard or Google, you are feeding into this engine. And at some point, that engine will in fact be able to replace you. I know you don't think so right now. You're like, some of the class flows are shit. I don't really love them, but trust me, my friends, that is what's going to happen, is you are going to then end up not having a job because the AI is basically teaching a class flow as good as you can. And if your clients are simply used to just getting led in this kind of class flow and not really getting a whole lot of feedback, there's going to be no fucking difference between you and the AI. None. Right? So if you were a client, all right, and you're feeding this kind of engine of, I will just go and flail around on the equipment with the music in the dark with people doing class flows, and then I will go to a smaller, more private space in order to get correction or in order to fix the injuries that I got in the other space, you are actually feeding into the problem. Because at some point, you're not going to have a teacher there at all. You're just going to have AI doing a class flow with no feedback. I personally am not worried about my job because I am consistently teaching, giving feedback, talking to people about what their bodies are doing, what their bodies could be doing, and how to get there. All right? So my clients will continue coming back, even at my higher pricing. So please stop it. Stop it with the thinking you're being cheeky and easier if you're a Pilates instructor by using AI. Because if you do that, I'm telling you right now, other fitness instructors are going to do that. They're just going to start teaching Pilates mat without even knowing it. You're going to, once again, be able to have purely AI-led classes. And if that's something that you as a teacher or you as a client really want, great for you. That is not a future I love. So let's just all kind of continue honing our skills, not phoning it in. As clients, okay, once again, I would start insisting that you get some feedback from your teachers, insisting that you are not just flailing around in the dark by yourself on a reformer when you are paying good money to be there. Okay? Frankly, these studios that are teaching huge classes can have more than one teacher on the floor if they have a huge class to just make sure everybody is safe and getting some love and feedback. Period. End of discussion. That is what we are supposed to do. That is what Joseph Pilates did. That is what my teachers did. That is most likely what your teachers did. And this is what teaching Pilates in a studio should be about, not just 30 bodies on a reformer getting thrown through a workout. All right, I am done ranting for the day. I love you guys. I hope you missed me. I missed you. Sorry about the weeks that I missed. As you know, I've been in a lot of pain with my post-COVID, long COVID situation. I'm starting to come out of that, and I am so glad to be here. And I will be back to you on Thursday. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Pilates Goddess podcast. Music brought to you by Nerd Salad. Please leave a review on Apple Podcasts, especially if you liked it. And please like, share, and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks.